All right, so welcome to our College of Ag and Environmental Sciences webinar. This is just to give you some information about our college, but then also hopefully you can get some questions answered, as deciding where to go to college is a really big decision. So we want to help out as best as we can. And just congratulations for being a part of the class of 2029. Like, give yourself a round of applause. UC Davis had a record-breaking year for the amount of applications that we have got submitted this year. So the admit rates were very, very competitive this year. So huge congratulations. And you also got into one of the top agricultural schools in the nation. So even a bigger congratulations at that. And if you have your family members with you or anyone that's joining you with you in the Zoom room. Congratulations to y'all too. I know it is a big thing to be a support system for someone who is going to college. So yeah, just congratulations to you and your families, as this is a big deal and we want to celebrate you too while we're here. So just a little mini round of applause and we'll get started to see who is joining us today. Oops. That was not the slide that was supposed to happen. But that's okay. We are going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'll go ahead and start us off. My name is Vanessa Talavera. I am the outreach coordinator for the College of Ag Dean's office. So I am in charge of all the recruitment and outreach within the College of Ag. And I can shoot it over to Anna.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Anna Bartels. I'm a third year undergraduate animal science major and a communications minor, and I'm from San Diego. I saw a few San Diego people in the chat. But yeah, I'm an animal science major. I'm on the pre-vet track or also considering like biomedical PR kind of jobs, still deciding. But if you have any questions for me later about that, I'd be happy to talk about it.
And we'll go next on my screen, which is Milo.
Hi, I'm Milo. I'm a second year undergraduate. I'm a wildlife fish conservation biology major, a mouthful there. I specifically study birds. I'm from East LA, well, Montebello specifically. I don't know if there's anyone from LA who knows where that's at, but and I'm an Aggie ambassador, specifically an Aggie ambassador officer. So yeah, that's about it, I think.
And next I have Caitlin.
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a second year environmental science and management student. And then I'm also minoring in gender, sexuality, and women's studies. And I'm from the Bay Area, and I'm also an Aggie ambassador.
And then Belle.
Hi everyone, I'm Belle. I'm a first year animal science major and I'm from San Diego area.
And last but not least, Alex.
Hi, hi, I'm Alex. I'm a third year transfer psychology student, and I'm also an Aggie ambassador.
Yeah, so they are all Aggie ambassadors. Even Anna was in Aggie ambassadors last quarter. So Aggie ambassadors is essentially a club and a class that we have specifically in the dean's office or just offered within the college. You're welcome to take it for 1 or 2 units, but it's basically a great way to get some outreach experience if you've done that in your high school or if you want to continue that. We also have a lot of folks who continue from Future Farmers of America or FFA. So it's also a great way to get involved, especially since we go to like state FFA, national FFA, and also we go to World Agricultural Expo every year. So great way to join and meet friends and they can tell you about their experiences in the panel. And also just before we get started, we have the Q&A feature. So if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, just go ahead and put them on there. We will be monitoring it throughout the presentation and then also during the panel portion as well. And then if we see any in the chat, we'll also just be answering them in the Q&A. So please use that as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get us started over here. So we have a huge team within the dean's office. Like I said, I'm in the dean's office, and so we are basically made up of at least 20 major advisors, peer advisors, and that is just within the dean's office. Beyond that, we also have our major departments. So whichever major that you got into, whether it's biotechnology, nutrition, ag and environmental sciences, anything within there, that is going to have their own major advisor in the major department where you can also see them specifically for their classes. And we also have different events folks. We also have the Aggie Jumpstart program within our dean's office. And so we're just a really big team and here to help you with any questions that you may have, whether it's regarding like your personal life or just like academics, or maybe you're just like, hey, where can I go for some good boba? We're also here to help with that too. And just to kind of help visualize it of like, okay, if I have a question, who am I going to go to regarding this? And so if we're looking at the gold portion of the little pie chart, or not the pie chart, Venn diagram, sorry. So if we're looking at the gold portion, that is going to be where your major advisor is going to answer any of these questions. So if you have something regarding your major requirements, or if you're just like planning for next year's courses, or if you're wanting to know about different research opportunities within your major advisors are going to be the ones who are going to be able to connect you right away with any of those questions, especially specific research and internship opportunities. A lot of them have a major listserv that they'll be sending out, whether it's like weekly, quarterly, monthly. They will have different opportunities, whether it's like local or if it's something within like the Bay Area is also a really popular one, or just in Yolo County where Davis is located. They will also have those internship and research and job opportunities blasted on there too. And they're also the ones that connect you with faculty. So if you are interested in research, or if you're just like, hey, which professor is teaching this class, they're able to help you out with that too. And then kind of in the lighter blue portion is going to be the dean's office. They're going to be able to help you with, or we're going to be able to help you with like major exploration. So if you're in between different majors, or if you're like, I'm not really sure, like I came in as, let's say I came in as a food science, but I'm actually really thinking of doing animal science, they're able to help you with that major switch. Or if you're like, I am in this major, but I'm not sure what I want to specialize in, or I don't know how this will make go to my career path, they're also to help you with that. So they're kind of there just for general broad questions as well. And they can help you with your university, GEs, and also college requirements. Or if you're about to graduate, they can also make sure that like everything checks out before you graduate. I know I made a lot of those appointments before I graduated as an alumni. I was in here trying to get those questions answered. And they can also go over different college policies and procedures. And then again, just general questions just regarding anything related to your academic life. Or if you're just like, what do I do here? I'm so lost. We can help you with that too. And we are everyone, major advisors, dean's office advisors, they can help you with like recommending classes. A lot of our advisors here have been here for a long time, so they have seen all the different classes that people can do, especially like fun GEs that people can take to kind of lighten the load of your heavy STEM courses. And they can also refer you to different campus resources and other co-curricular opportunities. There's also different like faculty advisors too. And if you have any questions regarding like your major, like what is your courses going to look like, you can go ahead and type in majors.ucdavis.edu, and that'll be able to refer you to your specific departmental advisor. You are more than welcome to contact them at this moment. I know admissions says like don't, but I know in the dean's office, we really, or just in the College of Ag, we really try to help out people to make a decision beforehand. So if you go in and you look up environmental policy and planning, for example, you're going to see Melissa Whaley. You're more than welcome to contact her and ask any questions specifically about your major. And sometimes they can schedule an appointment with you beforehand if you really need to make a decision, especially for our out-of-state students. I know a lot of if you've taken classes like at a local community college, you probably want to know how that transfers over. The departmental advisor is going to be the one to answer those questions. And then you can also look up our different advising resources at case.ucdavis.edu under student advising. And then all of those different retention centers that I mentioned earlier, here's a list of them. There's a lot of different community centers on campus. I know I kind of use that as my support system when I was here as an undergrad. Health professions advising, that's if you're kind of on the pre-med track. And so they're really good to kind of check in with periodically to make sure that you have everything ready for med school, dental school, school, anything related to the health professions, they're going to be the ones for that information. And then there's also the Internship and Career Center. Now it's just known as the Career Center, but basically if you have an internship that you want to get involved in, whether it be here at the local level or if you want to go back home and do an internship, they can help you with your CV, your resume, cover letter writing. They also do practice interviews. So we want to make sure that you are ready, whether you're getting a job here while you're in your undergrad or post-grad too. And then research, we are Research One University, so we have the Undergraduate Research Center. They can help you with anything related to research. I also used to work there, so we basically help pair you with a faculty or like how to discuss research with a faculty in order to get that position. So there's a lot of lab positions on campus or just like different types of research. Research looks different in different majors, so we help you basically get connected as soon as you get here. And then there's also different retention initiatives. So we have like our Chicanx and Latinx Student Success Center. We also have our African American Student Success Center. We have our Native American Student Success Center. So a lot of different retention centers based on different demographics to kind of also build that home away from home for you. We also have athletics advising. So we're a D1 university. So we also have athletics here as well. And then EOP and as well as student health and counseling. So we want to make sure that you're basically covered on all bases from your mental health, physical well-being, and then as well as academic well-being. So we're here to help and answer those questions kind of like we're here today. So who are we and what are we made up of? So we are the second largest college within the UC Davis campus. College of Letters and Sciences is going to be the largest college since they have all of the arts and humanities majors. And then we are the second largest, and then following us is biological sciences and then engineering. We're made up of over 7,600 undergraduate students and over 1,000 graduate students to kind of make up our second largest college. And then we have over 381 faculty members. 7 of them are part of the National Academy of Science, and 23 are part of the American Association for the Advancement of Science Fellows. So a lot of great faculty to work with. As you'll see in this next slide, we are #1 in ag, plant, animal sciences, and also ag economics and policy. So again, just a huge congratulations. You are going to be amongst like the top of the top, I guess, the cream of the crop here at UC Davis. And so we're just excited for you to join us and kind of attribute to or contribute to any of that research that is happening here and basically be a part of saving the planet, helping with sustainability. And so just great opportunities come here, especially since we are top in a lot of these resources. And then we're also top 10 in agronomy, biodiversity education, ecology, entomology, horticulture, nutrition, soil science, and toxicology, just to name a few, I guess. So again, just a huge congratulations. Just a lot of great opportunities that are happening here at UC Davis. And all of these have different research opportunities within them too that you can get involved in. I do recommend that you probably start looking at those research opportunities within your second year, because within your first year, there's going to be a lot of different things coming at you, whether it's be adjusting to the quarter system. You've probably heard we're on a 10-week system, so things go very fast. And then you're also probably going to want to make some friends, join some clubs, and then pass your first set of classes. So research can come later, but definitely keeping an eye out within your first year if you have a faculty that you're really interested in and you really like the classes that you're taking. And so this is just kind of to say that like you're gonna be okay when you come here. So we have an 82% graduation rate within the College of Ag and also a 90.5% retention rate. And so basically within your first year, we put a lot of things in place in order for you to be successful, whether it's with like advising, Aggie Jumpstart, getting you connected with retention centers, and just basically having those place markers for you to be successful here. We also have internships. Like I said, 87% of our students gain practical experience through these internships. I believe Anna will be going through some of the internships that she has done while she's been here, and then just other different ways of how we gain co-curricular experiences. But just essentially that our students are set up for success when they are here and when they leave here. And then the job rates are also high after graduation too. So Yeah. This is just to preface that I don't work for financial aid and never have, neither has Anna. But we have all received financial aid in different ways when I was a student and when she's a student, and that we are not housing either. But we really want to be able to give you that information because I know that is like funding for college is also super, super important. And so here's a QR code, and then also is Jamila Brown's information. She is like our homie over at the financial aid office. And so if you have any questions regarding your financial aid package, your awards package, please contact her. She is going to be the best person to get those questions answered. But essentially, we have a lot of different types of awards and scholarships once you come to us at the College of Ag. So, depending on your major or just depending on merit and what we have offering for awards within the college, those will be once that you are here. So, just in case if you're like looking for other types of funding beyond your awards package, those are going to be announced like during like our listservs and then also just like on campus in general. So yeah, please look out for those June 15th dates and July 16th. Well, that's for transfer students. But please reach out to Jamila Brown if you have any specific financial aid questions. And are you going over housing, Anna? Okay, perfect. So yeah, Anna, go for it.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, my name is Anna. Like I said, I'm a third-year undergraduate animal science student, communications minor. So as an active student, hopefully as I go over the next few slides, I can give you some good active student insight on kind of how classes work, housing works, and feel free to start asking questions. I think the Q&A is up, right? Yeah, if you have any questions as I'm talking, you can ask them in the Q&A box. It can be stuff logistically about like majors and minors, or it can also be about student life and like how classes work or how the student culture feels, things like that. But I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of class structure right now and how our classes are focused. UC Davis, especially in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, kind of focuses on this triad that you see on the screen with agricultural, human, social, and environmental sciences. This kind of ties into an idea called One Health. That's the idea that health is holistic in our world, and that includes humans, animals, and the environment. So in a lot of our classes, everything is multidisciplinary and you're not just focusing on biochemistry, for example. You're also focusing on the animal-human environmental interaction in all of your subjects. For example, I took an animal health and disease class recently, and we focused a lot on One Health and how that affects not just the animals that are diseased in veterinary medicine, but also how that affects our environment and how humans can play a role in that. So a lot of our classes focus on pretty interdisciplinary focuses. And it gives you a really good broad idea on how to apply it in the real world. So here's a long list of our undergraduate majors. These are just the majors in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. We have 27 right now and 39 minors. You can double major. You can pick up a minor in a different college. Like, for example, I'm a communications minor, and that's in the College of Letters and Science. But we also have something called specializations or tracks within a lot of our majors. Not every major has a track, but a lot of them, like animal science, I think has 12 options right now, actually. But a track or specialization, if you got in under a certain major, go ahead and take a look on the website because you might be able to track or specialize in something. And this is basically a way to kind of find a more niche topic within your major that you're interested in. So maybe Caitlin can speak on this later because I know she's environmental science and management, and they have about 5 different tracks. I think some of them are like data science or ecology. In animal science specifically, I'm a companion and captive animal specialization. You can also specialize in other species or other disciplines. A discipline in animal science would be like biochemistry or behavior. So these are just examples of how our majors go a little bit more in depth than just the title that you see on the screen right here. Davis really fosters having more specific interests. And if you have an interest in something just beyond food science, for example, or just beyond animal science, we'll have ways that you can take certain electives based on your tracks and specializations for something that you're a little bit more interested in within your major. And for student housing, so personally, I really miss the dorm life. I want to ask the Aggie ambassadors about that later, what they thought. But the Davis housing, there are 3 dorms around campus, and housing is guaranteed for all incoming first-year students. So if you're committed to Davis, you will guarantee to have housing in one of these 3 locations. There are also housing options after your first year. Typically people live off campus in apartments, which also I want to mention. The housing market is really good in Davis. Me or any of my friends, we have never had any issues getting housing. And the apartment complexes are really student oriented and student based, which is nice. But there are also some Davis affiliated housing options for second year onward, like Orchard Park, Shasta Hall, Green at West Village. Those are all student oriented or Davis facilitated. And we also have ways to build communities within your first year housing. We have like campus living offers access to classes. Everything is really close to campus. All of the dorms are walking distance, biking distance. We have academic advising within each of the residential locations, including on residential location tutoring, student tutoring. The dining hall, I actually really missed the dining hall. We had really good food. We have some like gardens and cute study spaces, and also dorm events, whether that's on your floor with your RA, facilitating like community bonding events, or on the field in the little quad. In each of the residence halls, there are often little like festivals or activities or even movie nights on the lawn. So those are just some examples of student housing. And we also have living learning communities. So if you choose to sign up for a specific type of student housing, these can include areas of certain demographics, rainbow communities, sustainable Aggies. We also have a unique program that is very unique to Davis, and it's our barn residency program. I believe you can apply as a freshman, but basically this is where you get to live at one of our animal barns or facilities for free in exchange for 10 hours of work per week. So if you are animal science or an animal related major, this might be a really good way to get some free housing and animal related experience. And so I have some friends that are residents at the swine facility. We have the dairy barn, goat barn, horse barn. And that's about 10 hours of work per week, and you get to live there the whole year, usually with a roommate, and you basically take care of the animals while getting free housing. So you can scan the QR codes there if you're interested in more information. Yeah, so I wanted to give some insight and examples as a student about internships, labs, and field trips. Davis is really known for its hands-on experiences. Internships, both on and off campus, can often apply towards graduation units, actually. I have some friends that intern at our student farm, for example, if they're related to like some kind of agricultural major. And it depends how many hours of work that you work per week. And that can give you a certain amount of credits towards graduation. So for example, like one of our farm internships includes something called Kids in the Garden, and that's basically like elementary school kids coming to the garden and doing little activities and events led by the college students. You can actually grow your own produce and work on the farm as part of the internship. One of the ones I had that was technically not like UC Davis undergraduate affiliated. It was through something called the Vet Aid Club. That's a pre-veterinary club on campus for undergraduates. And they actually offered quarterly internships at the vet school. So if you didn't already know, UC Davis vet school is the #1 in the country right now, and I think #2 in the world. So it's so nice to have the vet school right next to our undergraduate campus. But through that club, we were able to take 1 shift a week and work at the vet school, just biking distance away. And that's something now I can put on a resume and also get vet experience hours. So that's another one that I was able to find directly through like one of our undergraduate clubs. Lab experience. So if you're a STEM major, which probably all of you are, if you're in College of Agricultural Environmental Science, you will probably have to take all the chemistries, the biologies, the organic chemistries. I'm sure you've heard all the nightmare stories about it, but I can promise you it's not that bad as people make it seem. But our labs are actually really fun. I have some of my favorite memories that I made in lab, and I met some of my favorite friends in lab. And our lab experiences in chemistry, you're working with real chemicals, you're wearing the lab coat and the goggles, you're doing real experiments. Also in our biology labs, we got to work with a lot of animals. We got to work with like real environments. We got to go outside and do some like mini field trips. Some of my animal science labs, freshman year fall quarter, actually, like intro level animal science right off the bat. Each week in our labs, we worked with different species of animals. So one week we were milking cows, the next week we were shoeing horses. So each week we had something to look forward to. Something I also want to mention is going to a big UC campus. Some of your lecture halls are going to be really big. So you might be like in lecture alongside with a couple hundred other students, which can seem really intimidating. But Davis mitigates that by having really small lab and discussion sections. So even if you're in a huge lecture hall, each week you would have only 20 or so people in your lab, 20 or so people in your discussion with a TA to directly help you. So even though your lecture halls are so big, it's easy to make friends in labs. Everyone bonds really tightly in such a small group, and you're able to continue taking classes with the people through your major. Like as a third year, I've seen a lot of the same people. Even though the major is really good, I've been able to make friends, and it feels like a tight-knit community moving through my course load. And for field trips, a lot of my animal science classes also go off campus, and I know a lot of the other majors do as well. My roommate, who is environmental science and management, I think just last quarter, she went on a field trip to fly drones out over some agricultural landscape and work on a topography project. She also studies soil science, and so they went out into literal fields and took some soil samples and then studied the biochemistry of soil. So those are just some examples. Davis has really the hands-on mindset, and you don't know that you'll like something until you try it. So that's something I really learned with animal science and environmental science. I'm not sure if I mentioned I was environmental science and management before switching to animal science. And one of the things that really helped me decide to switch is being able to take these classes that are so hands-on and deciding like, oh yeah, I actually really like to do this. And I was able to figure that out because I had such hands-on labs and field trip experiences. So yeah. Some resources and opportunities for College of Ag students. So our college has a lot of unique opportunities to get students involved specific to our college. We have something called career discovery groups. So I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you have no idea what career you want to go into. If you do, then that's amazing. If you don't, then that is totally fine. I had no idea what I wanted to do coming in as an undergrad. But career discovery groups are just a 1 hour, 1 unit once a week meeting for you to kind of get some good career insight and inspiration. You're often paired with a career mentor. You might hear some speakers from people within your major talking about different career options and basically like help you figure out what the heck to do after you get a degree at UC Davis. We also have Aggie ambassadors. We have our whole panel today is Aggie ambassadors. This is a really good way to get involved if you're interested in outreach or volunteer hours. That's a great way to get involved and to meet people. That's also just a low commitment once a week meeting, and you get to sign up for fun events to volunteer at and meet people and have some fun like hangouts and games. Manners is like a professional leadership experience opportunity for students to get like resume help, public speaking experience, leadership experience. Aggie Jumpstart is for first gen low income students to get support. And this is also just a low commitment once a week meeting and a really great way to find community. We have tons of college affiliated student organizations, so many clubs, and I am still as a third year hearing about new clubs that I had no idea existed just because there is so many. Experiential learning and internships, kind of like I mentioned on the previous slide, like we have so many internships on and off campus. Davis is known as a college town, and so everyone, all the communities and companies and businesses around our college town knows that there's a bunch of students looking for internships and a bunch of students looking for jobs. And so I found that the basically intern and job market around Davis is really catered towards undergraduates, which is really nice. We also have big Sacramento nearby. I have a lot of friends that work out in Sacramento. Our intern in Woodland or Elk Grove is nearby too. So there's a lot of learning and internship opportunities both on and off campus. Kind of under that same umbrella, we have a lot of career advising with our college and career advisors. We have like health profession specific advising. It's called HPA. If you want to look that up, it's health professions advising. So that's all of our pre-vet, pre-dental, pre-med, anything pre-health. We have specific advisors for you. We also have specific career advising for any of our majors and any of our kind of niches or topics. We also have mental health and well-being resources. We have an on-campus student health facility. We have student insurance and amazing doctors and mental health services there. And events and activities. What college student doesn't like free food? I try to go to all these events because we have coffee with the dean. That is free coffee with, well, the dean. And you get to ask questions to Dean Dillard. Kind of about what's going around in the college, what's going on. Slice of advising, that's like a pizza party with all of your advisors, and you can ask some last minute questions there if you didn't have time to make an appointment with them. And study break, that's what's pictured in the picture on the slide right here. But during finals week, we lay out a ton of snacks that students can come and fill up a whole bag with for a break during finals week studying. So these are all good ways to connect with your community, resources and opportunities for incoming students. College can be an adjustment. It's a fun adjustment for sure, but picking up a few of these and looking into some of them that you might be interested in, at least for me, has really helped me build a community at Davis.
Yeah, and also another thing that I just thought of, it's not specific within the College of Ag, but there are tutoring resources everywhere. I know that's a question I get a lot from high school students. There's tutoring in the dorms, there's a tutoring center, clubs will do tutoring sessions together. So yeah, just another added little thing to help you out when you're here. But yeah, just a friendly reminder, your intent to register is due by May 1st. And so you have a little bit of time to still make your decision, still visit campuses. So if you are interested in visiting campus, or if you have any questions or need help getting connected with an advisor or just someone around campus, you can go ahead and contact me. Anna and I both oversee this email. So outreach@case.ucdavis.edu. And then you can also follow us on our socials and look on our website if you have any other questions. But let's get into this panel. So we have our panel of Aggie ambassadors here that can answer any questions that we have. I see there's a couple questions in our Q&A, but feel free to keep adding them, and we are here to help. But Anna, go for it.
Yeah, so you're welcome to put your questions in the main chat, but we do also have a Q&A specific little, I think it should be a button at the bottom of your screen or something, and that's a little bit of an easier way for me to see your questions if you want something answered. I'm going to try to answer the most broad ones first, and we're going to talk about the more broad ones. So if your question doesn't get answered today, by the end of the webinar tonight, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and if any of my Aggie ambassadors, feel free to put your emails in the chat. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you don't get them answered today. But I saw a good question. When do you start taking classes specific to your major? For example, if I'm an animal science major, would I start those classes in my first year? Would I just take my general courses first? So if our Aggie ambassadors can kind of answer, someone wants to go first.
I could start. So I'm an animal science major, and you kind of do a bit of both. For example, fall was my first quarter, and I took ANS 1, which is Animal Science 1. It's the introductory course to animal science. But then I was also able to take like a math and a chemistry class, and then I'm doing something similar this quarter. So you can really decide. I know some people are more focused on just getting their GEs done in their first year, but you can definitely take major specific classes as a first year.
I can also add on to this. If you type in, like just in like your search bar, UC Davis, your major, and then major requirements, it will pop up a little website, and then usually there's like a PDF, or it's just like embedded on the website, and it shows you kind of like an example schedule. And I didn't know about this at first, but I wish I did, because I picked classes my first fall here that I probably would not have chosen to take at the beginning again if I knew about like the practice schedule. So that one can help guide you to see what classes are recommended that you start with during fall and help you plan out your schedule for the rest of your time at Davis.
Yeah, Alex or Milo, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, just kind of like repeating what Belle said. It's like a good mix of both, I would say. I also started in animal science and I took ANS one. Alongside that, I was taking like GEs that were like kind of unrelated to my major or prereqs, and then you're also taking prereqs. Some people take bio and chemistry both in their freshman year. Some just take one and then take the other the next year. So it's a little mix of both, but really there's also like a little wiggle room too with how much you want to do as far as prereqs.
I think agreeing with both of you guys, it's a mix of both. I would do like a bunch of different classes that had nothing to do with the major, like archery or something like that. And then for like another semester or quarter, I'd do like all prereqs or Gs.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. One more thing I want to add on about that is, so yeah, pretty much your first 2 years, you're taking your GEs, your general education requirements. So these are like your arts and humanities, your domestic diversity classes. And it kind of depends on the major. Like, yeah, what all our Aggie ambassadors said, it's kind of a mix of both. I know for animal science, I know this isn't meant to be animal science promo. I know a lot of us are animal science students, but you take like an animal science lab and class fall quarter freshman year, which is really quickly. But I remember when I was environmental science and management, you didn't quite take your like major related classes right off the bat. So your first like year or two, a lot of the STEM major students are going to be taking the same classes, and that's where you have the big math classes and the big chemistry classes. And now that I'm a third year student, I'm really getting into my upper division major classes. So yeah, kind of just echoing what they said. It kind of depends on the major, but you're mostly doing your GEs and general intro level STEM classes. So good question. Okay, let me pick another one. Let's see. Okay, the question is, how many hours a day should you study being a first year student? And let me broaden this question a little bit. I get a lot of questions and tours and stuff about course load and students being scared coming into a UC campus with quarter system. So how has your experience been, thinking back to your freshman year or now, how has your study experience been, course load experience been, or any advice to students going into the UC system? Anyone want to go first?
I'm a transfer, so coming from a community college that was purely a semester system. Coming to the quarter system, it felt really fast paced, and I like barely had any time to breathe. I like that, but I also don't like that. Like in my community college, I kind of like some time to slack off, but I don't know if you can. Let's see if we can. I don't know if you can see that, but like on my board, on my wall, I have like a huge whiteboard full of like all this stuff I need to memorize for my classes. It's kind of like some people it's different. I need to like live and breathe certain courses in order to like do good in them.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to kind of plan out your schedule and stuff. Being coming from high school, I was very like, oh, I'll just roll with the punches, like I'll get it done when I get it done. But with college, it's a lot more structure that you need to put into it. So I would definitely recommend like creating a study schedule. And as far as how much time you should commit to studying, I think it depends on the subject, what you're struggling in. For example, like if you're not great in chemistry, you might want to put a little bit more study time towards that instead of, for example, animal science or calculus. So it really depends on which classes you're taking and then which subjects you're already strong in. But definitely making sure that you're creating that schedule. Like I said, I wasn't a schedule person, but it ended up helping me tremendously. And yeah, so really just depends on your schedule and what you're taking.
I personally would recommend getting very comfortable using a digital or a physical planner. Google Calendar is my best friend, my lifesaver. I go at the very beginning of the quarter, I go through the entire syllabus and I write down when all of the assignments are due and when all of the midterms are, so it's never going to be a surprise because things do come up quickly. I think in 2 weeks I already have like some of my first midterms, and within the first week I already had assignments due. So having those just already in my calendar is great because I know when everything's happening and I can help kind of plan my study times accordingly. But I also would not be scared. Like, you know, you worked so hard in high school just to get into college. So, like, I know you guys probably already have like the study skills, the time management skills. It's not, I don't think it's very different from high school. It's just kind of putting more effort into it. And then I would also recommend making study groups. My first year, I started taking classes that I have never taken before that I found really challenging. And it was also really hard at sometimes to have motivation to even study, because I was just very discouraged by how hard certain classes were for me. And in like my discussions, like I would chat with people and like exchange phone numbers, Instagrams, and then we would make study groups. So we would meet up or like we'd ask questions like on our little chat, and it was really helpful. So I would highly recommend that. Don't be scared. Everyone like is very like open and friendly. Like it's probably is very helpful for the other person too if you ask them to be in your study group.
Awesome. Yeah. Milo, any last thoughts?
I think my like at the end of the day, I feel like you know yourself best, so it's kind of just trying to understand what you like think you could handle, like especially type of classes. I think Belle mentioned that. Type of classes is important. Like I'm sure if I like was signing up for a schedule, like English and literature and writing classes come naturally to me. I could probably take 4 classes of writing and be fine, and 2 classes in chemistry would probably make me contemplate school all over again in general. So it's really just like knowing yourself and kind of what you're comfortable with, and maybe taking it slow to start. I mean, they recommend kind of taking your first quarter, maybe lighter is not the right word, but trying not to kind of overwhelm yourself your first quarter. So as you go on, you kind of learn to understand what you can handle and what you can't handle. And also like there's like reviews and stuff of different professors, different classes, different people's experiences. So there's always outside sources you could look into.
Yeah, that's good information. One thing that I wanted to mention too is like UC Davis, like yes, college classes are hard, but UC Davis would not set you up for failure. And we have such a high retention and graduation rate that although yes, your classes are hard and of course they require effort, the teachers are there to help you and the classes are not made to be impossible to do. And especially it's a little bit different from high school in that you're actually taking classes related to your interest. Like I hope you're interested in your major. So that makes a huge difference is that the things you're learning about, like yes, although they're hard, it's something that you're interested in. Like my biochemistry classes for animal science, like yes, it's biochemistry, it's difficult, but I get to learn about animals. And so I am more interested in it. Kind of another thing about registering for classes is everything is unit based in UC schools. So a typical class is about 4 units. That's like an average class. A little bit of a shorter, easier class is 3 units. And then our harder classes like organic chemistry or biology or chemistry, regular chemistry are 5 units. So you build your schedule based off of the amount of units you have, which is typically 3 to 4 classes or 12 to 16 units is what they recommend. So depending on what you feel comfortable with. Typically, freshmen come in between like 12 and 16 units. 12 units is usually about 3 classes. So if that puts it into perspective on kind of your course load and how much work to put into it, you get to pick. You just have to be registered for at least 12 units to be a full-time student. So it really is kind of up to your comfort level, but I want to reassure everyone, like it's completely possible. I'm no like Einstein genius, and like it's possible to pass. It is difficult, but it's also fun and interesting. So kind of, I saw another really good question, kind of relating to classes and like class culture. This question is, how much do you feel professors care for your well-being? Do they tend to be distant and strict with their classes? So Someone wants to start off with that?
I would say 9 times out of 10, like most professors, like really care about the class and kind of are understanding to your situations if there's anything going on. Um, I mean, like emergencies, obviously every single professor is going to be understanding in that aspect. But even besides that, like every now and then you'll kind of be have a professor who's like a little more understanding, a little more lenient on everything that's going on. Obviously, like that's not going to be every time, but I would say, like I said, 9 times out of 10, like a professor is like very kind of interested not only in the content they're putting out, but that the students are actually engaged and aren't overwhelmed as well. Whether it be kind of like making different paths for students to like within a like class, different like routes they can take to pass. Um, yeah, there's a lot of different avenues where they're very helpful. I mean, I've had professors who have kind of given me extensions for assignments that I probably didn't deserve an extension for just because of, a situation that was going on and how like helpful they want to be to the students around them.
And then to expand on that, you can kind of judge your professors before taking the class by using Rate My Professor. Usually that gives you a little bit insight on how lenient they are with homework extensions, if they give it out without reason, or if there has to be more of a reason behind needing homework extensions. But yeah, I would say generally professors do care very deeply about your well-being and want to be accommodating to you.
Also, just so I want to barge in again and add on, it's not like high school where you'll have like a teacher who's kind of like teaching biology, but like they're just teaching biology because they have to teach biology. Like almost every professor at the school is teaching something that they've spent their whole life studying and are passionate about. So you feel that passion like every time you take a class, especially when it's like smaller niche classes as well. Like that's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, more like a side project for the professor. Like I took a Vikings class and that was really interesting. And you like times like that, you get to see how passionate the professors are about like what they're what they're teaching to you and what they're kind of studied. And just as you do stuff that you're passionate about, there you put a lot more care into it than when it's something that you're kind of not really interested in.
I'll also add that if for some reason you are not really vibing with your professor, most classes have at least one TA. Like all of my classes have multiple TAs. So there's always going to be multiple people that you can reach out to for questions, for help. Even if you are like assigned one TA, you still have like the emails and the schedules for the office hours for the other TAs. So there's multiple different opportunities for help.
Last quarter, I had like a really like bad quarter. I had my like car stolen, and that was like a huge thing. And then like, and then I talked to all my professors, and they were very understanding because I had to go back and forth from the crime scene to Davis. And then they're like, they totally understood. They gave me a lot of leeway. I think more than I deserved. And they were really great and professional, and they helped me out a lot. I think they're very understanding.
Alex, I'm so sorry your car got stolen. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, I've had great experiences with professors. Also, UC Davis is a research school, which means that a lot of our professors are doing their own research and spending time in their subjects besides just doing like lectures and being a teacher. So that means they're really passionate about what they teach in, and they're really passionate about fostering students who are also interested in the same subjects. So professors during office hours or even outside of office hours, I have a lot of professors that meet on their own time with students who are curious. I actually just emailed a professor the other day because I want to just hear about her life academic story. And she's like, yes, let's meet outside of my office hours. I'll make time for you and we'll meet and I'll give you advice and talk about it. So a lot of our professors are really passionate about what they do. Also, a lot of professors have their own research labs that they accept students into. This is meandering a little bit off the question, but like I have a lot of friends who intern or work in their professors' research labs for experience. And they basically work with their teacher doing research, which is amazing and not something you can do in high school. So, but yeah, teachers and professors here are really kind and understanding. And of course, in any extreme circumstance, every single professor will have protocol for that. Also, professors are really nice about having very laid out syllabi, for students to understand when things are due, exactly what they expect. So I remember in high school, I had some classes where I was like, what do you want from me? I don't really understand like what the prompt is here, but professors are very good at making things clear and being kind about it if you have questions. Also, we have about 8 minutes, so if anyone has any final questions, the Q&A thing still is open if you want to submit some last ones. But let's talk about changing majors. So someone asked, if I decided I want to change my major, when would I allowed to change that? Or just in general, if you guys have any insight about what it was like changing your major, what made you want to change your major and your experience with that. So Milo, do you want to start us off with that one?
Yeah, so I changed my major twice. I came in as a animal science and management major. I was like, well, I want to work with zoos, I want to work with animals. I was like, okay, maybe that management part can help me out a little more. But then as I was kind of looking at the requirements, I saw that it wasn't really for me, kind of a lot of class load that I felt wouldn't set me up to succeed specifically, just with what I'm kind of good at. So I was like, okay, maybe let's eliminate this management part. So I switched to animal science and I really enjoyed it. My first year was in animal science. And then I was like, oh, actually, I don't know, like maybe I want to do more wild animal. Like I'm not really like domestic animals are really my thing. So I found wildlife fish conservation biology my second year, just this past quarter, and I switched. And both times it was really quick. Like I'd imagine it'd be a little longer, but probably still pretty simple and laid out, switching from one college to another. But since I switched within the College of Ag to another College of Ag major, it was like lightning quick to get it done, as long as I just had to come up with like kind of like a grad plan almost to show that I was like prepared to switch majors, and that was about it. Other than that, it was just filing requests. I think the first time I switched majors in 3 days or something like that. Don't bank on that. I think that I just kind of got lucky there, but the next time was like 10 days. So like it's pretty quick, it's pretty easy process as long as you're kind of proactive about it. So I wouldn't stress too much about like feeling like you're pigeonholed in one major. Like it's the advisors want you to succeed. Everyone at the school wants you to succeed. So they're not going to force you to do something that's going to set you up to fail, like being in a major that you're not passionate about and don't want to do. So they want to help you switch. So it's a pretty simple process, I'd say.
I also switched majors. I came into Davis as a civil and environmental engineering major, and then I switched out into environmental science and management. And within my first quarter, I very quickly realized that I did not want to do engineering. A lot of big STEM classes, a lot of like the outcome is just kind of like building stuff, like physical things and like construction. And that's just not really what I'm passionate about. I'm more passionate about like the nature side of things. So I decided to switch my major, and it was incredibly easy to switch out of engineering. Um, and before I made that choice, I took one quarter to take classes that were um, major requirements for environmental science and management, realized that that is what I wanted to do, and then I switched after that. And I just met with my major advisor for both colleges and filled out a petition on Oasis, and I was able to switch almost immediately. But I will say that for certain majors in certain colleges, they do have different requirements. So I would definitely check into that if you're between majors. I know for certain that if you wanted to switch from, like say, environmental science and management into engineering, switching into engineering is much harder than switching out. So I would just keep that in mind.
Awesome. And yeah, Alex and Belle, you guys didn't switch majors, right? Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I actually also switched majors. So I was environmental science and management, and then I switched to animal science. And kind of same as these two, like I started taking some of the classes that I thought I'd be super interested in. But like I said earlier, like you never know if you truly like something until you do it. And so I liked the classes, but I just didn't see myself going down that career route. And I was able to take classes outside of my major before deciding to switch majors. So at Davis, You don't have to be just strictly set to classes in your major. So I took an animal science class while I was still environmental science and management, and I loved it. And so I was like, yes, let's switch. And I'm pretty sure like within that week after talking to an advisor, I was already switching to animal science. So sometimes there's a couple prerequisites you need to switch into more like full majors. Like I know switching into computer science, you might need a coding prerequisite or something like that. But typically it's very easy. And it's also great that Davis allows you to take classes outside of your major. So it looks like we have time for maybe one more super quick question.
Oh,
Let's see. Oh
I was
yeah,
gonna add on real
go
quick
ahead.
that not only does the school let you take kind of classes outside of your major, sometimes classes outside of your major actually can go towards your major depending on like whether it's like kind of similar or it helps out. So like there are like animal science or WFC classes that would transfer over to the other major and still kind of help you towards your graduation. Sometimes you have to kind of like argue for it and say, hey, like I think this would help out, whether it's in your specialization. Other times it's listed right there that it can help you.
Awesome. Yeah. And we do actually have 2 minutes, so I'm going to respect everyone's time and cut it off there. But in the chat right now, I'm going to put my email as well as our College of Agricultural and Environmental Science outreach email. If you have any specific like pre-vet questions or student life questions, anything, feel free to email me at my student email right there. Or if you have more general advisor kind of related questions, feel free to email the outreach email. If your question didn't get answered, yeah, feel free to email. But thank you to all of our panelists and congratulations everyone for getting accepted to Davis. Woohoo! But I'm gonna let Vanessa close us out. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, panelists. You guys were awesome. Yeah, great information. And just to quickly answer the two that questions are left in the chat. For classes like ceramics, we do have a craft center that you can go and visit. That is just extracurricular, doesn't go towards any classes. And then we also have an art studio major and a minor. So if you want to dive into art more, you can do that. And then research is super helpful. Please visit the Undergraduate Research Center. I was specifically in the McNair Scholars Program, so they help you get to your PhD and other graduate degrees. So yeah, a lot of great opportunities within the Undergraduate Research Center, and I use all of those research skills in my job even today. So yeah, please email us if you have any questions, and then if even the panelists, if you want to put your email in the chat, not required, but feel free to do so if you want to. We'll stay on until I guess 7 on the dot. But thank you so much for joining us this evening or this night or this morning. And take care and thank you so much and have a good one. Bye bye. Yay.
Bye everyone.